Our journey begins in Ireland, years into the past. It all began when England's Sir Walter Raleigh was granted land in Ireland by Queen Elizabeth to grow potatoes and tobacco. He had discovered the tuber and brought it to the Irish land around mid to late 1500s. It was obviously much too early to guess just what a catastrophe it could bring a near 300 years later. At first sight, the potato seemed like a gift from above, as it could easily be grown in the moist fields of Ireland and could be produced in large quantities. From 1780 to 1845, the heavenly vegetable did Ireland a favor by doubling its population of 4 million to around 8 million. But along with the boom in population, there was a massive demand for more land. In order to make the amount of land fit for the amount of people, the plots had to be made even smaller. While the potato could still yield a large amount of food for such small space, it made the Irish extremely dependent on it for their diet. The amount of dependency that was set upon the crop was a self-setup for disaster if an ominous event was to occur. There were numerous benefits to the potato which made it so popular for all of Ireland and its farmers. On one hand, it is packed with carbs, which makes it a great choice for someone who may want to put on weight, so it allowed its consumers to be able to easily fight off being underweight and starvation. Also, it has an ability to grow in large quantities and provide more food. The population increased greatly in Ireland before the famine, and food to feed more mouths was not an issue when it came to the mighty crop. A great example would be the population increase in just 20 years. In 1821, the population was 6,801,827. In 1831, it grew to 7,767,401. And in 1841, it continued to increase up to 8,175,124. That is nearly 1.5 million people. Even the predominantly poor rural population was often well-fed and maintained a healthful diet.
You hear about the Irish potato, you hear about the Idaho potato. It becomes so synonymous with the place where it's been. Before the potato, people couldn't inhabit all year round high mountain valleys in Switzerland and Nepal, the Rocky Mountain West. Once the potato arrived, it is a mountain crop, although it grows at sea level, it grows in the desert. It made possible people being able to stay in those high mountain valleys year round. It has completely transformed places that it's gone.
Terror and depression resided amongst the now-infested soil of what used to provide so much life and great things. Beginning in the early fall of 1845, reports rose of curled black leaves on the potato plant, which eventually led to rotting. The culprit of the ruined produce went by the name of Phytophthora infestans, an airborne fungus reportedly derived from Peru. The fungal fugitive traveled up to North America, eventually into the ships of England, and gone with the wind to the Dublin countryside. The blight spread only more and more rapidly as the spores of the fungus made its way onto more leaves, and infected all of the exposed. Also, when the conditions are moist enough, a small batch of potatoes have the potential of ruining thousands of more in a matter of days. To add to the melancholy effects of the fungus, it dispersed a nauseating odor as they rotted the plants, making them shriveled, dark, and inedible. When the news made its way to London, the Science Commission predicted the eerie news that wet rot would ruin more than half of the tubers. In addition, while Britain stated that they would attempt to match Ireland's donations to aid relief of the famine, most of the Irish population failed to make an amount that would take them far when it came to raising money. Lastly, Britain believed that the country would spring back soon enough and decided to hold back on financial help. That assumption led to fatal occurrences. The level of backlash that came was tremendous when it came to the Irish potato famine. The tiny spores of the fungus were all it took. The first tragedy to happen is what happened in the actual potato itself. First came the physical change of it turning black and becoming inedible. Then followed the stench, but the effects that had in people's lives are what really made a difference. First of all, it took away their food source. That obviously led to starvation and death among the people because most of their diet was non-existent at that point. The absence of the potato led to a dark sight in the country at the time. Reports have been made of dead bodies in the fields and corpses being carried on carts to massive graves, and there was an occasional hinged coffin, which was used time and time again. In addition, the potato was a large part of the economy for the people of Ireland, seeing as all of the farmers had it as an easy product. No longer having the potato to sell meant less income, which meant they couldn't pay for the necessities they needed or other food. Being that the potato was gone, that brought the last problem back up again. Among this time, disease also spread, adding to the killing spree of misfortune. An event like this had effects that remained throughout history unto this day.
When we celebrate the potato, we celebrate ourselves. The potato has like 80% water like we do, and it's changed and transformed world history.
It's the most important food plant. It provides more food value per acre than any other planted crop.
We argue that the potato famine caused an economic crisis in Ireland during the 1800s. This caused the Irish to work harder to get their money situation back up along with other countries. Ireland's economy took a deep plunge during the famine. It slowly rose up to get to where it is today, booming along with England's. This is shocking because during the famine, England refused to help Ireland in its time of need. It took many years of hard work to get Ireland's economy back on track. This concludes our journey in the history we have learned in Ireland. Thank you.